Welcome, everybody, to the fun astrology podcast for October 13th. Thomas Miller. You know, we've been on kind of a talking about current events, and that just gets a little down. So let's pick it up around here today. How about it? Not much, in fact, in the sky today, but over the weekend coming up, there are several things. Today's aspect has already happened. The moon entered Gemini at 1:07 this morning, Eastern Time. Now, that could add some punch to the Gemini characteristic, which is Mars slowing down to turn retrograde on the 30th. Obviously, that could punch those Mars characteristics in Gemini, so watch for two choices. Watch for A and B. Watch for division. Watch for two options over the next 48 hours. This will clear about noontime Saturday Eastern Time when the moon then moves on into Cancer. And kind of on that note, as we're talking about the weekend, so we get an emotional and inspirational and intuitive Saturday, Sunday into Monday. Yay, we'll take it. And on that note, I'm just letting you know, I am going to record some episodes ahead for next week, but they will all be pre-recorded so that I can focus on the group. My buddy Hemmett coming in and all of that. So a lot of stuff getting ready to happen. And then, of course, I have to pace myself so that we can pull all this off. So I'm going to be pre-recorded all week next week. We'll just talk about the aspects. If there's a really light day, I'll probably skip over it and keep it lighter. I will be doing the Ray Merriman episode this Saturday, but not next Saturday. You know, you could say the podcast is void of course for a week. There you go. Now, just real quickly, and then we're going to slide out early today. In the morning, early, this is 2:20 tomorrow morning, we have a benefic and a malefic, if you want to go that route. Venus trines Saturn tomorrow. Retrograde Saturn at that. So that's a Libra Aquarius air trine. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday talking about some ideas of extending things, of building new ventures, and obviously making money. Venus, Saturn, of things that would last. Not today and tomorrow projects, but things that would be done today that would be around 30, 40 years from now. That's the personal application of Venus trining Saturn. Absolutely. From a market perspective, those of you trading or interested in the financial markets, Friday could be a pivot day of whatever happens today. If you were just taking the pure symbolism of that, you would expect it maybe to be a little bit negative, at least in my book. Venus trining a malefic planet would be still something that could bring it down. I would rather look at it as a pivot point, catch whatever happens today, and then take a look at maybe it shifts tomorrow. You know, that idea of pivots related to these aspects in our life is a really important concept to bake into your astrological studies. Watch for the direction that it's going, whatever that direction is in your life. Then you see one of these aspects, like this could relate to karma, it could relate to money, it could relate to structure, it could relate to health. There are a number of things that this Venus-Saturn trine could indicate. And rather than embellishing the characteristics of the trine, just consider it a pivot point. Like, I can pivot my money on this aspect. I could pivot my longevity on this aspect. I could pivot my legacy on this aspect. I could pivot doing things casually and surface versus doing them deeply and with lasting meaning. Use the energy of the aspect as a pivot point to go in a different direction and pull that energy with you. Love, relationships, Venus. What if you want a lasting relationship with somebody new in your life? Or you want to make a new commitment to the relationship you're in, that it lasts. Use that as a pivot point. Maybe you need to end a relationship that simply no longer serves. It's dragging you down. It's no longer serving simply, and the other person wants to go a different direction. Time to namaste. Use it as a pivot. So there are all kinds of different ways to use an aspect like this positively in our lives. Hope that gets you fixed up with some good, encouraging empowerment. See, we're staying on our highest timeline. We're recognizing what's out there. We're not being oblivious. I talked to Robert about this yesterday. When does an astrologer disclose what they see on the shadow side, mundane side? And then when do you stay on the positive? Well, around here we do about 9.5 to 0.05 or 0.5. We try to stay in the positive lane as much as possible and yet still acknowledging what the chart says. All right, you guys, have a good one. We'll see you back for TGI Friday, set up the weekend, talk about the moon wobble, beginning on Saturday and start the next week ahead of our trip. Have a good day.